learners, today I have a math lesson for you, and our learning target is I am learning to divide using efficient strategies. So this is page 93 and it's called More Division Practice. So the first one says, Mr. B bought 4 jars of honey, which weighed a total of 24 ounces. If all the jars weighed the same amount, how much did each jar weigh? So I went ahead and underlined the question. How much did each jar weigh? Okay, so I know he bought 4 jars of honey, and the 4 jars weigh a total of 24 ounces. So I need to find how much did each of those jars weigh. So I'm going to show my thinking using a loops and groups model. Okay, so 4 jars of honey. So I'm going to draw 4 loops. These 4 loops are my 4 jars. Now I know there's 24 ounces in these 4 jars. So what I'm going to do is take 24 and I'm dividing it by 4 to find how much each jar weighs. So I'm going to put my groups inside the loops one at a time until I get to 24 to make sure they are equal groups, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay, now to double check, I'm going to count how many groups are in each loop. So 6, 12, 18, 24. So that's my 24 ounces of honey. Now, 24 ounces in all, 4 jars. How much did each jar weigh? So looking at my loops and groups model, how many ounces are in each jar? How many dots do you see in each jar? 6. So my missing number is 6. And I can't just leave it blank, no naked numbers, so I need to include my units. How much did each jar weigh? So each jar weighs 6 ounces because we are calculating how many ounces. Okay, so I went ahead and included my units on my answer, and then I have to write a sentence to match my story problem. So each jar weighed 6 ounces. Alrighty, so I think I completed my first story problem. I have work to show my thinking using a strategy I know, an efficient strategy, an equation with my answer, and I'm gonna go ahead and box that with my units, and a sentence to complete my story problem. Alrighty, now, loops and groups is one way you can solve a division or multiplication equation. Another strategy you can use is an array model. So now I'm going to show you how to use an array model with this next story problem. Okay, so Mrs. B also bought 24 ounces of honey. She put 4 ounces of honey into several small jars. How many jars did she use? Okay, so the numbers are the same, but the question is asking something different. So she bought 24 ounces of honey, but this time Mrs. B is putting 4 ounces of honey into several small jars, and we need to find out how many jars did Mrs. B use. So I'm going to write my equation, 24 divided by 4 ounces of honey equals blank. How many jars? Okay. So I'm going to use the array model, like I said, and normally we would use tiles if we were in our classroom, but as you can see, I'm not in our classroom, and so I don't have tiles. So I'm at home right now, but I found Cheez-Its, and they're squares, and they look exactly like our tiles. So that is what I'm going to use today. You could also use a type of cereal or pasta, fruit snacks, whatever you have at home, so that you can move around and make an array, okay? So I'm gonna try to hold this up so it doesn't fall. All right, so here is my array model. So the first thing I did was I counted out 24 Cheez-Its, and then I put them into groups of 4 because Mrs. B put 4 ounces into each jar. So now I need to count my groups of 4 to see how many jars she filled. So my 4 is going down. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 in each column, and I'm gonna count my columns to see how many jars she filled. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So she has 6 jars of honey and 4 ounces in each jar. 6 times 4 equals 24, and 24 divided by 4 equals 6. So now I'm going to write that on my paper. 6 jars of honey. Now I showed you my thinking using the array model, but I need to draw a picture on my worksheet so that way when you turn it in to me or your teacher, that she can see your work too. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw that array model on my paper. So I need 6 columns to show my 6 jars of honey, and then I need 4 rows because each jar of honey has 4 ounces. Now, I need to label. So there's 4, which represents ounces of honey in each jar. And then there are 6 jars. Okay, so I labeled my drawing and I labeled my answer with the units. Now all I need to do is write a sentence. So, how many jars did Mrs. B use? So I'm gonna write, Mrs. B used 6 jars. So now I have a sentence with my answer to match the story problem. Okay? So remember, when you are solving these story problems, you need an equation with units in your answer, a model to show your thinking, and a sentence with your answer to match the story problem, okay? So So we just went over different strategies to solve division problems. So let's go over them real quick. There is skip counting, loops and groups. You can use a number line or an array model. And don't forget about our fact families, because that will help you as well when you're thinking about multiplication and division. All right, well, good luck on this worksheet. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to contact your teacher. Good luck!